left Camp Tarawa in Hawaii in late January of 1944. There were 12 aircraft carriers, 578 ships, and 120,000 men in a task force that stretched from one end to the other a total of 70 miles. So we can see how the United States, just like we described there at the roads tied the states together. Everybody was united. We came together as a united nation. Now the guys that are up there on the flag raising right now were part of Easy Company. When they landed on Iwo Jima, they were to take 300 yards and cut across Suribachi at the front. 300 yards. It took them all day to go 300 yards. 150 men. 7 officers. And they fought, and it took them that whole day, the first day, to take that thing and hold it. So on the 4th day, Iwo Jima, the Suribachi and the Japanese finally gave up Mount Suribachi, which was 550 feet tall. And the first group went up and put a flag up. It was a small flag, and one of the guys that helped raise that flag with those 6 men was from Columbus, Ohio. His name was Charles Lindbergh Jr. Charles just passed away this last year. He was the last surviving member. So when a colonel came on shore and he saw that flag up there, he says, "I want that flag." So Easy Company, 1st Platoon, took the flag back up. Now the 6 men young men there, aged 18 to 23 years old. Harlan Block was the first man down on the bottom. He was from Westlake, Texas. James Doc Bradley, Navy Corps, the second man. He was from Mexico, Wisconsin. Franklin Sarsley, the youngest man from Hilltop, Kentucky, was 18 years old. And Ira Hayes, a Pima Indian from the Gila Indian Reservation in Arizona. And on the back, you have Sergeant Mike Strang. He was their platoon leader. He was the old man of the group. He was almost 24, 25 years old, I believe. And the last man was what we talked about as Rennie Gagnon, and Rennie is just buried here as we turn the corner. Out of both groups, 3 men died on Iwo Jima out of each group. 6,782 Marines died on Iwo Jima. 20,000 Japanese died on Iwo Jima because out of Iwo Jima, the island was 2.5 miles long and 5 miles wide. There were 696 fortifications, caves, and tunnels. You could literally go from one end of the island to the other end. After 34 days of battle, the island was finally taken. The Marines have a saying that says, "Semper Fidelis," always faithful. And there's a sign that says here, "Uncommon valor was a common virtue on Iwo Jima." In 34 days of battle, there were 27 medals of honor given out at Iwo Jima. 3 of the men were from Ohio. One of his name was David Stein from Dayton. Now the youngest man, and I call him a man because he was a man, was 17-year-old Jack Lucas from Belhaven, North Carolina. He jumped on 2 hand grenades, and he lived to tell about it. So, after these 34 days, they finally took it. And I look at it and I brave at it every time, and I think of how this was built. And it took all those years, and in 1954, the statue was finally built, and its size, another size that you compare to, is one of those canteens on those guys, the Marines up there. If you were to fill their canteen up, it would hold 22 gallons of water. 22 gallons of water. Now, there's a few stories, I tell you, and then we're going to have to get back on the bus. Now, Ira Hayes, you've all told the story about Ira Hayes, how many men in combat had different ways of taking it. And Ira was an alcoholic, but he did something that was phenomenal. For many years, the man on the front bending down, since their faces were French, was thought to be Hank Hogan. But they were told not to tell it that it was Harlan Block. It was the thing that the press told them not to tell them when they came back. But years after years, Ira Hayes, before this was dedicated, he walked and hitchhiked 1,300 miles from Arizona to Westlake, Texas to tell Harlan Block's parents that was him at the bottom of the statue. Another very interesting fact is that Mike Strang was not a naturalized born citizen of the United States. He was born in the Czech Republic. He came over here with his parents. In something really amazing. The Marine Corps' birthday is November 10th, 1775. Mike Strank was born November 10th, 1919 on the Marine Corps' birthday. And he's in one of the most famous pictures of World War II in Marine Corps history. And that's basically what I can say, that out of the 150 men, 7 officers that were in easy company. 35 non-commissioned officers walked off, and 1 officer. The rest were combat, wounded, or killed in action. So this is a little sortie. There's time capsules that are buried underneath the memorial. A lot of the Marines, when they came, when it was dedicated, left their ribbons, letters that they wrote when they were on Iwo Jima, and they're all underneath here. And like I said, young boys became men when they landed on Iwo Jima. It was a horrific battle, just like all the other battles. And just like you, though, you all did your part to give us what we have here today. It's freedom. Freedom and what this flag stands for. Now, the original flags, if you ever get a chance to go over to the Navy Museum Yard over in Washington, D.C., both of the flags are over there on display, and yes, they have 48 stars. All right? Thank you very much.